Right now at 9, slick road conditions could be to blame as 3 people are killed in separate crashes across Kansas. Plus, the Joplin Police Department is mourning today after a retired K-9 officer passes away. Also,
a Pittsburgh artist is teaching folks some new skills for the new year. I'm Bronte Sorotsky with the details.
And from tracking down COVID-19 testing kits to courts blocking the federal vaccine mandate to Russia massing troops on its border with Ukraine, it's going to be a busy start to the new year in Washington.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Chris Warner. The wintry precip may have stopped falling, but not before it slickened roads across the area. A semi-truck lost control on US 69 in Fort Scott yesterday just after 4:30. The truck ran off the road and crashed into a pickup truck parked in a driveway before crashing into a home at 1415 State Street. A passenger of the semi-truck was taken to Via Christi with serious injuries. No one else was injured in the crash. And slick roads may be to blame for 3 fatalities in Kansas yesterday. The first one happened just before 2 a.m. in Wyandotte County on I-435 when a car rear-ended a KDOT plow truck at near highway speeds. The driver, 20-year-old Ernesto Lopez of Platte City, Missouri, was killed. The driver of the plow truck suffered minor injuries. The second accident happened on I-135 in McPherson County around 4 in the afternoon when 36-year-old Jimmy Hall, III of Wichita, lost control of his vehicle and crashed into a ditch. 43-year-old Leslie Berner of Osage City, Kansas, was killed when she lost control of her vehicle on US 56 in Osage County. Late yesterday evening, the Aurora and Marionville Police Department was called to an address on East Highland in Aurora near the airport. There, they found a 34-year-old man with severe injuries and what appeared to be extreme frostbite. He was found near a tree stand on the property, which was owned by his family. He was taken to Mercy Hospital, where he later died from his injuries a few hours later. Officials say while his death remains under investigation, no foul play is suspected at this time. No other details, including the victim's name, were released. And despite the fact it stopped snowing, it's still pretty chilly out there. Nick Kelly joins us.
Yeah, it certainly felt like January around here for today, that's for sure, Chris. Even though the backside of the storm system that gave us snow flurries this morning, it's long gone. But as far as the numbers go, we dropped to 12 this morning in Joplin. It topped out at 24. 20 just about shy of the record, make that normal high of 45 degrees across the region. Thankfully, what started out as a cloudy day with some random snow flurries, we quickly turned to sunny skies, and we're sticking with clear skies for the evening. Couple that with a couple areas of high pressure. It's keeping us quiet tonight, sure, but still need to another cold start for our Monday morning. We're seeing mid-teens to about 20 degrees across the entire region. We're not going to drop off much more with that high pressure bringing the south wind back into play later on tonight. We'll only drop to 15 across much of the region, and even though that breeze stays light, the sunshine returns. And we're finally back above freezing tomorrow, Chris, with highs near 43. We'll see how the rest of the week's shaping up here in a bit.
All right, Nick, thank you. Some sad news now over in Joplin. Police K-9 Belgon has passed away. Belgon retired in 2018 and has been enjoying his retirement home with his handler, Officer Adam Brannon. According to the department's Facebook page, Belgon's health declined rapidly last night, and Officer Brannon had to make the difficult decision to have him put to rest. The new year is a time for many to pick up some new skills, and for some four-staters, that was in the form of learning to make stained glass designs. KOAM's Bronte Sorotsky tells us how to make the specialty artwork.
As daunting as it may look, learning to make stained glass designs can really pay off. And what better way to start the new year than learning a new skill?
I think that they're learning a new skill, which is great. You know, learning helps keep the brain active, which we all need at any age.
Diane Miller is a glass artist here in the 4 states, and she's using her background in teaching to spread her knowledge to folks in Pittsburgh.
I have traded grading essays and research papers for teaching stained glass and fused glass projects.
Participants use pieces of glass and fuse them together to create their designs, turning something old into something new. One participant said the activity helps get the creative juices flowing.
You can get your creative side a little bit more, and you have a very polished piece when you get done. Whereas fused glass is a little bit And they turn out sometimes, sometimes not.
It's a beginner's course, less about the outcome and more about the experience.
This is a beginner class where I teach glass cutting 101, I call it. This is the glass cutter. This is how you score it. This is how you run the line and go from there.
Miller says she hopes the interaction with new people while learning a new skill can create a valuable experience.
I think the camaraderie of the group, most of these people didn't know each other before they came.
In Pittsburgh, Bronte Sorotsky, KOAM News.
The classes will continue through January at the Art Forms Gallery in Pittsburgh, and we'll have the details for those classes over at KOAMnewsnow.com. Well, the first week of the new year is bringing with it many of the same challenges the White House has been dealing with for several weeks now, from tracking down COVID-19 testing kits to the courts blocking federal vaccine mandates to Russia massing troops on its border with Ukraine. President Biden will have his hands full. Fox News senior correspondent Rich Edson takes a look.
President Biden spends his last full day in Delaware this holiday season. He's scheduled to return to Washington tomorrow. And when he does, he faces significant COVID challenges as Americans return to work and school. Some waited in line for hours over the holidays to get COVID tests. The administration's trying to buy 500 million tests to send out free, though it's unclear when this month that program begins. The administration also faces criticism over evolving COVID guidance from medical experts as this virus continues changing.
I do think there is some confusion out there because you've got one set of rules for healthcare workers, you've got another one for those in the school systems, and now you've got one for the general public. I would like to see some harmonization of those because there's just a lot of information out there. We need to simplify it more for the public.
The president also faces a series of COVID-related court challenges. The Supreme Court Friday will hear cases involving the administration's mandates for employees at larger companies or many healthcare workers to be vaccinated or tested. A federal judge also just blocked a federal vaccine mandate for those involved in the Head Start program in 24 states. Some school districts are returning to remote learning as others implement testing requirements.
We need to do everything in our power, which includes getting access to those tests. Let me remind you, the American Rescue Plan, when it came out in March, had funding for testing.
Overseas, Russia has massed tens of thousands of troops along its border with Ukraine. The president says he's warned Russian President Vladimir Putin the West would enact unprecedented sanctions against Russia if it invades Ukraine again. Russian state media says Putin warned President Biden that if the West enacts those sanctions, he would move to break diplomatic relations. In Wilmington, Delaware, Rich Edson, Fox News.
And we take this time now to honor one of our many four-state heroes. Staff Sergeant Alfred Wood served in the Army during World War II with the 193rd Ordnance Depot Company, his hometown, Weir. We're proud to recognize Staff Sergeant Alfred Wood, tonight's four-state hero. And remember, to learn more about our other heroes, or if you'd like to nominate one of your own, you can do that at any time at KOAMnewsnow.com. Coming up, Twitter is permanently suspending Georgia Republican Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene's personal account.
Well, we certainly have seen things improve throughout the course of the day on the backside of our departing storm system. I just wish we'd say the same as far as temperatures. It was nice to see the returning sun today, but since we're on the backside of that Arctic front, we went from midnight highs in the 50s back on New Year's Day the other day, tanked throughout the day. We dropped to about 12 around Joplin Regional. A lot of us upper single digits to about the lower teens, but we did see a little bit of a warm up today, back near 24 degrees. More importantly, though, if you are not a fan of how we kicked off the new year the other day with a lot of clouds, rain, and then switching to that wintry mix, all we had to get past today was morning cloud cover and some random snow flurries that were floating around. Then we finally enjoyed sunny skies throughout the day. We're seeing clear skies tonight, and just to make doubly sure, nothing on the radar network. But down the road, maybe a few things to watch. First and foremost, though, bright skies for Monday and definitely for Tuesday, and back above freezing. Definitely have highs in the 40s for Monday and Tuesday. However, another strong cold front will come our way on Wednesday. Then behind that, another upper level wave could bring another shot for snow by Thursday. In the meantime, though, we're just enjoying the quiet night that we have. Roads look okay. Not only that, it's nice that we're using the camera once again since the sun served as a defroster for our camera. 19 in Joplin, calm breeze outside, the humidity kind of high but not too terribly high at 71%. We have mid-teens in our northern counties, everybody else in the upper teens to about the lower 20s all across the board. But I don't think we're going to drop off much more from here on out, because even though we had a northwest breeze throughout the course of the day, look at how it's kicking back out of the south, especially in the western half of the viewing area. There's a good reason for that. As we take it to the surface map, we have a couple areas of high pressure, and as they're sliding toward the east, that's going to finally get that southerly wind back in action while we wait for our next Canadian cold front at the very least to head our way on Wednesday. Upstairs, the last of that upper level wave that gave us some snow flurries this morning, pushing well to the east of the region now, and immediately not much to show off to the west, so that's a good indication. We're going to keep things dry as we go through the next few days. So again, even though we're seeing clear skies locked in for tonight, that southerly breeze, even though it stays light, means we're only going to drop back, most of us, into the mid-teens to start our Monday morning out. Most of us around 15 degrees, but even though that breeze stays light, the sunshine pushes us to 37 by noon. Most of us faring a lot better. Back above freezing tomorrow with afternoon highs right around 43 degrees. Let's look down the road. Tuesday, looking okay, upper 40s. Then as we head toward Wednesday, in comes a cold front with 30s back in the forecast for Wednesday. Then in the upper levels, a quick shot for some snow during Thursday morning. So looking like minor accumulations for now. Still trying to sort out who could see snow with Thursday's wave, but that's something we're still keeping an eye on. Looking good for Friday, quiet but cold with 30s for highs. Then we're back in the 50s by Saturday with maybe another system that could bring us some rain chances our way. But we are going to do a lot of melting, a lot of the frosting tomorrow, Chris, with highs around 43 and plenty of sunshine. Let's go 48 Tuesday, 38 Wednesday, and again another shot for some snow, for some at least, Thursday morning, and definitely cold on Thursday with highs for 23.
Yeah, but this forecast, less of a roller coaster with the temperatures and more seasonal, it seems.
And more importantly, again, back above freezing. We're going to do a lot of melting tomorrow.
I'm looking forward to that part. Nick, thank you so much. Still ahead, an iconic landmark in South Florida is vandalized.
Fox 14.
Well, Twitter is permanently suspending Georgia Republican Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene's personal account. The company confirmed the suspension Sunday, saying the account had repeatedly violated its COVID-19 misinformation policy. Twitter has restricted Greene's account in the past for sharing misinformation about the 2020 presidential election. In response to the new ban, Greene said, in part, quote, "Social media platforms can't stop the truth from being spread far and wide. Big tech can't stop the truth. Communist Democrats can't stop the truth. We will overcome." Greene still has access to and can tweet from her official congressional Twitter account. Vandals have damaged Florida's iconic Southernmost Point landmark in Key West. Police say the anchored concrete buoy was burned early Saturday when a Christmas tree was torched in front of it. The 12-foot-tall landmark is popular with tourists and reads 90 miles to Cuba, holding special meaning to many Cuban Americans. Investigators say they are now looking for 2 male suspects they say are responsible for the fire and the damage. Key West police say they are using video from a dedicated 24/7 webcam in their investigation. A fire broke out inside the parliament in South Africa. Flames could be seen billowing into the sky as fire crews attempted to contain the fire in Cape Town on Sunday. According to the country's public works minister, the rapidly spreading flames even reached the National Assembly. Lawmakers assured the public, however, parliamentarians would still be working despite the fire. No injuries or deaths have been reported. Israel moves against suspected militant activity Sunday. Following rocket firing Saturday, Israel's military says it launched 3 strikes against targets in the Gaza Strip. The explosions could be seen as jets were heard flying over the area. There were no confirmations on casualties or what was hit. We'll have more on the tensions in the Middle East in our second half hour. Next, colleges and universities nationwide making adjustments due to the spread of the Omicron variant.
Pivoting.
The surging Omicron variant of the coronavirus is forcing colleges to return to practices from the start of the pandemic. Colleges and universities across the country bringing back online classes for the first weeks of their upcoming spring semesters. Both public schools, such as the University of California system, and private schools, such as Yale, Columbia, and Rice University, are taking this action. Other reactions include Syracuse University announcing they will push back their start to the end of January. Some institutions who require booster shots, like Boston's Northeastern University, are continuing as planned, while the University of Illinois is requiring 2 negative tests to return to in-person lessons. France institutes new national rules for indoor mask wearing for young children. New regulation went into effect New Year's Day. In hopes to avoid school shutdowns, school-aged children 6 and older must wear masks in indoor settings open to the public. Young children must wear masks in public transportation, sports complexes, and places of worship. In some cities, like Paris and Lyon, outdoor mask mandates have been instituted for residents and children aged 12 and older, with some exceptions. Those out of compliance could face a $152 fine. Ireland recorded more COVID-19 cases over the holiday period than all of 2020, according to the country's Department of Health. More than 120,000 people tested positive between Christmas and New Year, compared to a total of just under 92,000 cases recorded in 2020. Department of Health reported just over 17,000 new infections on Sunday. Number of people admitted to the hospital rose to 717, with 87 in intensive care units. On Saturday, Ireland recorded more than 23,000 cases, the highest daily total since the start of the pandemic. Meanwhile, figures for the 7 days up to December 27th showed Northern Ireland had the highest infection rate in the UK. Millions of Americans will return to work or school this week, but the explosive surge of new COVID-19 infections is altering daily life across the U.S. Number of COVID-19 cases jumped 113% across the U.S. last week, prompting some school districts to return to virtual classes. Polo Sandoval reports.
Fresh off the holiday break, teachers, parents, and students are trying to make sense of the latest COVID surge. Monday is the return of school for millions of kids across the U.S., but many will not be heading back to a classroom. As record numbers of children are hospitalized for COVID-19, some school districts will start with online learning, including in Atlanta, which announced on Saturday the first week back from the holidays will be virtual. It's the third large school district in the Atlanta metropolitan area to make that move. All Atlanta public school staff members are required to report to their workplaces on Monday for COVID-19 testing, according to a statement.
There is absolutely no way to keep Omicron out of the schools. No way. It's more transmissible. It passes through and looks just like a cold. And what we're going to be relying on is testing, in addition to the standard practices of masking, social distancing, and hand hygiene. But the testing that we're using, these antigen tests at home, simply are not sensitive enough to keep Omicron out of our schools. Even if they're picking up 85% of the cases, and that's with parents doing their absolute best to test correctly, read it correctly, or even have the willingness to do so. Some cases of Omicron are still going to slip through.
A vast majority of the country, seen in dark red, is struggling with COVID surges, in some place 50% or more. The nation broke records at least 4 times recently for its 7-day average of new daily COVID-19 cases. The nation broke records at least 5 times this week for its 7-day average of new daily COVID-19 cases, reporting an all-time high of more than 394,000 new daily infections on Saturday. That's according to the latest data from Johns Hopkins University.
Well, I'm worried about our hospitals. We're going to continue to see millions and millions of cases in the United States. And even with a lower virulence, apparently, for this variant, still about 2% of folks who contract the virus need to be hospitalized. And it's going to be a race. It's going to be a race between waiting for this surge to crest and hoping that we don't run out of hospital capacity.
As the holidays come to a close, airlines canceled more than 2,700 flights on Saturday, more than any other recent day, dealing with both coronavirus infections among aviation crews and a winter storm sweeping much of the nation. A week of massive cancellations of complicated holiday travel, including the return home.
Now, President Biden has endorsed the test-to-stay practice that allows students exposed to COVID to avoid quarantine after receiving a negative test. However, tests are still scarce in many parts of the country, even as the federal government works to ramp up supply. Well, coming up, we're set to wrap up this half hour of News at 9 with a tale of heroes out of Italy.
It's the New Year's Super.
Italian firefighters to the rescue. On Sunday, 2 dogs were rescued after one firefighter dug through dirt with his bare hands and pulled the dogs out. The pair reportedly got stuck after chasing a fox and getting stuck in its den. The rescue went on for several hours, but as you can see there, came to a happy conclusion. We've got 30 more minutes of news, weather, and sports on the way for you. Still ahead, if you've got an old BlackBerry, and I don't mean the ones you eat, we've got some news on their expiration date that you're going to want to stick around for. Plus, airlines are asking the FCC to delay the rollout of new 5G technology. We'll tell you why. Also, another type of delay regarding airlines, this one specifically related to flights. And starting this year, you won't have to expect the unexpected medical bill. Well, those old BlackBerries, they're about to spoil. BlackBerry, the tech company that dominated the early smartphone days, announcing their devices will lose most of their capabilities this Tuesday. As of that date, any phones or tablets running the company's software will lose their ability to reliably make calls, send messages, use data, or even call 911. This marks the death of the company's attempt to reboot its software division when they released the BlackBerry 10 operating system in 2013. BlackBerry devices running an Android OS will continue to work as normal. The proposed new rollout of 5G technology may get put on hold over some airport concerns. U.S. airlines are asking the Federal Communications Commission to hold off next week's unveiling of 5G wireless technology at major airports. Trade group Airlines for America made the emergency request for delay. The group says the FCC hasn't adequately considered 5G harm caused by C-band frequencies. Concerns stem over possible interference with aircraft, such as when planes have to use altitude-measuring radio devices during landing procedures. Holiday travelers rang out the old only to ring in the old right back again when it comes to New Year's flying woes. Tracking service FlightAware says by late Saturday, more than 2,600 U.S. flights and 4,600 worldwide were canceled. Sunday looks bleak, too, with at least another 1,900 flights planned for January 2nd not departing. Staffing shortages from COVID-19 are a big factor, but bad winter weather affecting Denver, Chicago, and Detroit also had an effect. New winter storms are also expected for the Northeast later this week. Starting this year, you won't have to expect the unexpected medical bill. Now, a new law went into effect New Year's Day, preventing patients from receiving surprise medical bills. The provisions of the law state patients with insurance won't receive bills following emergency care from an out-of-network doctor or facility. Patients will still need to pay any deductibles or co-pays, but they will be billed at the in-network rate of their plans. This will also cover doctors or clinicians who are out of network but work at an in-network facility. The U.S. Postal Service, they get a pat on the back, or a round of applause, for some on-time holiday deliveries. Postal Service says it made major improvements over holiday deliveries for 2021 compared to 2020's problems with the pandemic. Data from ShipMatrix says 96.9% of postal shipments tracked for a 2-week period made it to their destinations on time. Last year, more than a third of first-class mail was late by Christmas. The USPS installed 112 new sorting machines and hired 40,000 seasonal workers to help delivery efficiency. Law enforcement officials in the nation's major Democratic cities have their work cut out for them as they map out plans to deal with a surge of violent crime. Many cities saw crime spikes, something authorities want to reverse in the new year. Fox News correspondent Lucas Tomlinson has more from Washington.
For many cities across the nation, last year will be remembered as a violent one. In 2021, Chicago saw more murder than any time in the past quarter century. 16 cities across America, stretching from Portland, Oregon to Jackson, Mississippi to Philadelphia, all experiencing a record-breaking number of homicides. In one of his first interviews since taking office, New York's new mayor outlined his plan to fight crime.
We're going to go after gangs. We're going to take down some of the large gangs in our city. We're going to reinstitute a plainclothes anti-gun unit and zero in on those guns.
The city of Houston ended the year with a homicide rate 17% higher than the previous year. This despite Houston in 2020 voting to increase police funding. Murder here in the nation's capital and suburban Maryland soared last year to levels not seen in more than a decade, reflecting the growing violent trends nationwide. Homicides in Washington, D.C. rose for a fourth consecutive year, surpassing 200 for the first time in nearly 2 decades. In Maryland's Prince George's County outside D.C., there were more killings than any time in 14 years. Here's Chicago's top cop on the threat his own officers face every day on the streets.
76 police officers have been shot or shot, standing in the line of fire since the beginning of the year, protecting the people of Chicago.
Some critics blame defunding the police as a reason for the spike in murder and other violent crimes. Others cite the pandemic, blaming lockdowns for people not working or kids not in school. In Washington, Lucas Tomlinson, Fox News.
Later on the KOAM News at 9, Israel's military says it launched strikes against militant targets in the Gaza Strip one day after rockets were fired at Israel from Hamas-ruled territory.
Win. Informed and get news lit fit.
It certainly was nice to see the sunshine back in action. I just wish it could have gotten a head start on warming us back up. Granted, we were definitely cold. We should certainly be so, considering it's early January after all. But it's still amazing to see quite the plunge in the temperatures from Joplin Regional's perspective. We had midnight highs, if you remember the other day, in the upper 50s, but we went from 40 at 5 a.m. into the 20s quickly throughout the afternoon. We did drop back into the lower teens this morning inside Joplin city limits before we jumped back into the mid-20s this afternoon. We were able to at least warm up that much once we got the backside of the storm system out of here. But before it did, we had quite a bit of cloud cover sticking around late last night through this morning, and with the last batch of moisture, even some random snow flurries out there. But you saw how quickly that cleared out, and we enjoyed finally brighter, bluer skies throughout the day. And we're still sitting nice and quiet with clear skies and nothing on the radar network late on this Sunday night. Plus, the sun really helped us out. We got a usable tower cam back from 7th and Rangeline again, showing the clear skies outside while Joplin's sitting at 19. Calm breeze and the humidity starting to climb back up at 71%. We have already mid-teens filing up in our northern counties, but everybody else trying to hold on between the upper teens and the lower 20s. But I really don't see us dropping off much more, even though it's already downright cold. We went from a northwesterly breeze throughout the afternoon hours. And look at this, we're starting to get a light southerly breeze back in action. That will do the trick, though, to keep temperatures mainly steady overnight once we drop back a few more degrees. And that's despite clear skies in place, but we'll take it considering how that last storm system's producing still snow in parts of the Tennessee Valley where they had to deal with severe weather the other day, but the severe weather has shifted in the parts of Georgia and the northern parts of Florida. Around here, though, high pressure's in control, and as it skirts off to the east, that's going to bring more of that southerly wind back in action tomorrow while we wait for our next Canadian cold front to head on in. But the upper levels, they look quiet to the west. Certainly nice to see after the upper level low that gave us the snow flurries this morning continues to clear on out. Again, we're looking good for the rest of the night. Clear skies up top. That southerly breeze kicking in means we'll only drop back, most of us, to about 15 degrees to get your morning started. Going throughout the course of the day, though, even though that south breeze stays light, plenty of sunshine throughout the day will allow us to get finally back above freezing. 37 by noon, 43 for the afternoon high in Joplin. I think everyone's fair game to go lower, if not mid-40s, for our first Monday afternoon of 2022. Quick look at the jet stream setup. Still has us quiet for Tuesday. Wednesday, we got another quick cold front. That's cold front out of Canada. That comes in, brings us back to the 30s on Wednesday. Then upstairs, we got a quick wave that'll give us maybe a shot for some minor accumulating snow during the morning hours on Thursday. Then we're going to clear things out, stay dry for Friday, and then we'll see maybe if another system with some rain chances can sneak back in by about next Saturday, especially late in the day. 43 tomorrow. Nice to be back above freezing finally. 48 Tuesday, back into the upper 30s Wednesday, but we're dry for the middle of the week. Again, that quick shot for snow Thursday. We'll keep an eye on that, Chris, with highs near 23, but we'll be back near 50 as rain chances sneak back in on Saturday.
I'm looking forward to those warmer temperatures in the next couple of days.
Yeah, I got to deal with some cold nights still, but anytime we get back above freezing, we'll take it.
Love it. Nick, thank you so much. Coming up in sports, we're going to hear from Gerard's Brecken Troike on being selected to the Kansas Shrine Bowl. Danny Terzer's got it all next.
This is the Toyota Sunday Night Sports Feed. The Kansas City Chiefs have won 8 straight games. They've already locked up a division title, but Kansas City is still playing for the top seed in the AFC. The Chiefs taking on Joe Burrow and the Bengals. Patrick Mahomes hits Demarcus Robinson for a 29-yard score. Later in the first, Travis Kelce scores. Good start for the Chiefs. Next drive, though, Burrow connects with Jamar Chase. He takes off 72 yards to the house. Later, it's that same duo. Another huge play here. Chase gets behind the defense. This one 69 yards. Bengals able to get back in it. Penalty on 4th and 1 gives them a fresh set of downs. Leading to this, Evan McPherson makes the field goal. Chiefs lose a tough one, 34-31.
You just go back to work. You don't point fingers. You don't blame coaches. You don't blame a particular play, a particular series. You just go back to work. You keep bonding with your teammates. You keep that chemistry alive, and you keep believing in your coaches as well.
The rosters for the Kansas Shrine Bowl were released on Saturday, and 6 local players made the team, including Gerard's Brecken Troike. Troike is a first-team All-CNC and All-State linebacker for the Trojans. He tallied over 100 tackles in the team's 10-1 season this past fall. Troike joins his coach Neil Philpott on the Shrine Bowl's East team. Philpott was named to the coaching staff in December. He'll also be teammates with a few familiar CNC standouts.
Me and Coach Philpott, we get along pretty good. It'll be really fun playing with him again. One more time. So I get to play with some of the boys I competed against, so that'll be fun. Cruz Blair, Cody Shock, I know them pretty well. Brett, of course, I've been playing him, basketball, baseball, football, so yeah, I'm glad for them to be on my team.
Oklahoma State pulled off a come-from-behind victory to take down 5th-ranked Notre Dame 37-35 in the PlayStation Fiesta Bowl on Saturday. The Cowboys were down by 21 points late in the second quarter. Spencer Sanders and Tay Martin revived the team. Sanders had 496 total yards and threw for 4 touchdowns. 3 of those were to Tay Martin. Head coach Mike Gundy said, quote, "This is clearly the biggest win in the history of the school." Here's more from him.
We had to play fast and try to wear them down, which we did. And the coaches made fantastic adjustments at halftime. We challenged the team at halftime that anybody that didn't want to come back out and fight, play by play, need to stay in the locker room. And they came out and they fought and competed, and couldn't be any more proud of them.
Arkansas defeated Penn State 24-10 in the Outback Bowl on Saturday. The Razorbacks scored 17 points in the third quarter and blanked the Nittany Lions the entire second half. Quarterback KJ Jefferson rushed for 110 yards, and Arkansas totaled 361 yards on the ground. It's the team's first bowl game appearance since 2016 and their first 9-win year since 2011.
Coach Brown put him to the side and he was like, hey, at some point you got to take over the game. You got to put the game in your hands. And, I mean, we just got to put our best foot forward and score points and win the game. I'm just embracing it all. I mean, just the guys, my teammates just put in the work, fall camp, spring ball, just believing in the coaching staff, believing in each other, the brotherhood and the bond that we share. I mean, we're just embracing it all, and we can be able to just reflect back on it and just tell our younger kids or our other family members that, hey, we did this and we accomplished this during this season.
The Oklahoma Sooners are 10-2 this season and are pretty close to breaking into the AP Poll's top 25. In their Big 12 opener on Saturday, Oklahoma hosts Kansas State. Umoja Gibson nails the corner triple. Sooners up 11 at half. In the second, K-State on a run. Mark Smith, he finishes with a career-high 25 points and 16 boards. Later, Elijah Harkless sinks the jumper, team-high 21 for him. Smith to Nigel Pack for three. Big second half for Pack. Then under a minute to go, all tied up. Harkless hits the jumper. Oklahoma closes it out 71-69. In the NBA, the Thunder host the Mavericks tonight. Oklahoma City falls 95-86. Josh Giddey is back after 3 games, and he makes it known. He records his first triple-double, 17 points, 14 assists, and 13 rebounds. He becomes the youngest NBA player to have a triple-double. Giddey is just 19 years old. We're back right after this.
We're here to help. We are the 4-state.
Israel's military says it launched strikes against militant targets in the Gaza Strip 1 day after rockets were fired at Israel from the Hamas-ruled territory. Fox News correspondent Trey Yingst has the story.
The new year is not off to a great start in the Middle East. Overnight, Israeli airstrikes targeted Hamas positions along the Gaza Strip. The strikes were in response to rocket fire on Saturday that landed off the coast of central Israel. There was also a sniper attack from Gaza last week that injured 1 civilian, though Hamas claimed it was conducted by a rogue attacker. Egyptian negotiators are working around the clock to prevent another round of escalation between the two sides after that 11-day war last May. The development comes amid rising regional tension, as much of the American policies meant to decrease tension have only added to the status quo. For example, the 8th round of nuclear talks in Vienna, Austria resumed last week between the U.S., Iran, and the parties to the 2015 nuclear deal. Though Iran is still increasing its storage and enrichment of uranium, actions that may push Israel to act alone militarily against the country. Analysts warn a more passive approach to issues that have the potential to start a war could be very dangerous entering the new year. Iran this weekend kept the rhetoric high while commemorating Qasem Soleimani, their top general that was killed in a U.S. drone strike 2 years ago.
They will not be given an opportunity for peace. The revenge for the assassination will continue. And they must not think that this amount of revenge is enough. No, the revenge will continue.
The issue arises when rhetoric turns to action. We've seen continued Iranian proxy action across the Middle East. One wrong move could take the entire region to a broader conflict. In Jerusalem, Trey Yingst, Fox News.
We're back in just 2 minutes. Ordinarily, we'd have something really fun to share with you right here, but sometimes there's just not enough fun news in the world, or we've just sucked up all the fun news in the world. So what we're going to do is take a moment to thank you for the last year that you've been with us. I mean, we're already 2 days into 2022. There's a lot still ahead. There's a lot of promising things on the horizon. Don't let some of the bad news of the day get you down. Again, we're just 2 days in, which means we've got plenty of time to make 2022 the best year it possibly can be. And I know myself here and all of us at KOAM are going to be working to do that as the year goes on, bringing you some stories, hopefully lift your spirits while still bringing you the news that you need to know. And we thank you again for making us the 4 states' most watched news. And that's going to do it for us tonight. Then we will see you again next weekend. And of course, the rest of the team will see you this upcoming week. And thanks for making us part of your night.